last night? The Chinese and American heads of state from the detailed news, mainly involving 3 issues: China-US relations, the Taiwan issue, and the Ukraine crisis. Considering the context of Gao Shisankin's provocative remarks, among these 3 issues, which one has the strongest urgency? It's self-evident. According to Japanese media reports, Trump then had a phone call with Gao Shisankin, but the details have not been revealed in the Sino-Japanese diplomatic turmoil. What role the US played in the dispute? What kind of calculations it is making on the Taiwan issue? Let's talk about it today. In the past 2 weeks, focused on Gao, therefore, you may not have noticed that. The US quietly made several small moves. First, on November 14th, the US State Department approved $330 million in arms. This is the first approval since Trump. First approval, the timing was very delicate, just a week after Gao's provocative remarks. Secondly, on November 19th, the US Senate passed the so-called Taiwan Assurance Implementation Act. This bill requires the State Department to regularly review and lift restrictions on contacts with Taiwan. Currently, this bill is waiting for Trump's official signing and taking effect. Once again, the repeated support of the US ambassador to Japan. He accused China, so-called economic coercion against Japan, and said that on behalf of the president and the embassy, firmly supported Gao Shisankin. I think this statement was authorized by Trump. Otherwise, the ambassador would not dare to claim to represent the president. So the call between the 2 leaders firstly reminded the US and emphasized China's principles on the Taiwan issue and advised the US to jointly safeguard the fruits of World War II. We can see that Trump's response is relatively positive. He said that China played an important role. The US understands to China's importance. Such a positive statement is certainly good, powering the US's history of using the Taiwan card at will. We cannot let our guard down because of this. How the Trump administration will act is yet to be seen. So today I also want to take this opportunity, since Trump took office, specific operations on the Taiwan issue and policy tendencies. In fact, in the past 10 months, Trump has been relatively indifferent. About 2 months ago, foreign media hyped up a wave of so-called American abandonment of Taiwan. According to US media report, Trump had rejected $400 million in military aid. And in his interactions with Chinese leaders, he seemed to intentionally or unintentionally, when facing media questions, he always skillfully avoided.
Would you order US forces to defend Taiwan?
Yes.
I can't give away Mike's secrets.
Mike might say Mike's secrets. I don't want to be one of these guys that tells you exactly
what's going to happen if something happens.
Do you still remember in 2022? The same question. Reporters also asked Biden at that time. Biden's answer was
yes.
So in comparison, Trump's tone on the Taiwan issue was not very high, but we cannot conclude that he intends to stay out of it. His low profile is more like a strategic ambiguity rather than strategic abandonment. There are mainly 3 reasons. Firstly, is due to strategic inertia. Using Taiwan to contain China has been used. A very handy card. Chicken are huge. It's unlikely to give up easily. Secondly, the need of the ally system. Japan voluntarily made provocative remarks. In fact, to test the bottom line of US-Japan coordination, the US is likely to respond in some way to echo Japan to maintain the alliance. Thirdly, it is for domestic political needs, playing the Taiwan card, and promote arms sales for Trump. It is a surefire business. It can unite conservatives and please the military industry. These 3 points can explain the reasons for the frequent small moves of the US. So at present, it seems Trump's first characteristic is that his tone is not high, but he keeps making small moves. And further, behind these small actions is the second difference between Trump. Second characteristic. The driving force behind Taiwan policy is not just but a real business. So in his second term, on Trump's forehead, there seems to be 4 big words written on it, a free ride. In the past, the DP has indeed taken advantage of many US benefits. For example, in the 2023 fiscal year of Biden's Defense Authorization Act, there was a clause saying that provide $100 billion in military aid in Trump's view. This was probably unreasonable. How could it be obtained for free? It must be purchased. So let's look back at the previous news. It rejected military aid, but approved arms sales. This is the profit-making logic of selling, but not giving. And in Trump's view, Taiwan still has potential that has not been fully tapped. He previously said Taiwan should increase its defense budget from 2.5% of GDP to 10% of GDP. That is to say, he hoped that Taiwan would spend $8 billion. It has to be said, the US arms dealers are really lucky to have Trump, are really blessed. In the economic field, Trump's calculations are also very straightforward. Last year, the US trade deficit with Taiwan region increased by 54%, reaching $730 billion. The biggest reason for this deficit is the Taiwanese chip industry, which also stepped on Trump's business red line. Therefore, Taiwan is required to use huge investment to balance. Currently, negotiations between Taiwan and the US has entered the final stage. It is rumored that Taiwan may need to invest more than $400 billion. What does this concept mean? Let's compare it a little bit. We can know the hardship of Taiwan. Japan's GDP is 4.03 trillion. Promised to invest $550 billion. South Korea's GDP is 1.8 trillion. Promised to invest $350 billion. The GDP of Taiwan region is 790 billion. It is expected to invest $400 to $450 billion in the US. Among them, TSMC has taken the lead, promised to invest $165 billion to build a factory in Arizona, and a group of key engineers have moved to the US with their families. It sounds like investing in the US, but in fact is to hollow out Taiwan. Taiwan media asked, cutting off the fattest meat, what's left in Taiwan? So overall, the US will not abandon the Taiwan card. The Trump administration just unwilling to pay the cost to play the card. But to maximize its interests, its core logic is to have everything in this Sino-Japanese diplomatic turmoil, at least for now. Trump, in words, remains cautious, has not publicly supported Saki Takahashi's provocative remarks. If that's the case, then Suga still lacks a key bargaining chip. This May is the shrewdness and danger of Trump's transactional intervention. And danger, no, how will it develop next? Let's continue to pay attention. I'm Yi, what do you think? And welcome to Leave Me a Message.